Well, one of the things I thought I would do now is look through some old videos. So I searched Pyrrho 314 and I found this old video. So I watched about 20 minutes of it, but it's an hour-long video. So let's see how much we can watch together. Probably not going to watch the whole thing, but here we go. Doesn't seem like that it's working. Doesn't seem like you can hear it. So let's see what the fuck's going on.
From your agenda
There we
engine,
go.
okay, but from your knowledge of a good game.
All right,
You
there
don't
we
think
go.
that's coming naturally at all?
Something for Gary to bitch
Well, I
about.
don't see how it possibly can come naturally. It's a
Well,
totally,
why,
it's
you say it
totally
became by
unnatural.
accident to some
It's
people
totally,
already.
it didn't come by accident. It comes by the natural logical progression. We're all becoming scientists if we want to be scientists. We're all so much more informed than the best scientists of history.
Yeah.
Even commonly, we know more. So this is just a natural process of just adding the pieces together. So we all have enough pieces now. We know the whole globe. We've heard about civilizations. We've watched movies. We've seen slavery. We've been exposed to all these dynamics. So it's so easy for us to see the game. You know, we have such a huge
The thing is,
advantage.
everybody's cynical right now. Like in America, it's almost like everybody's cynical and has a bunch of knowledge of why they're cynical, and then something comes out about how they're spying on us, and suddenly, well, it's the government. They have to do that to keep
But this
us
is
safe.
all this ego
So it
crap.
seems
though.
like
It's
there's
still,
this
still
dissonance.
this ego shit, and it's still just about this, nationalism or racism or genderism or whatever you want to tie it to. It doesn't matter. But obviously, people are still talking from their agenda engine. They're still talking
like
about
me.
what they're comfortable with. Okay, they don't. I never eat sushi, right? So I don't like sushi. So I'm reacting to the world because it's sushi, and I'm saying I'm not going to analyze it. I'm not going to recognize it as a food. I'm just going to say I don't like it. Okay, and that's how simplistic people are being and how they judge everything. They're still letting the agenda engine.
That's how simplistic. See, this is where Gary seems insightful, but how is Gary not being that simplistic, even though he sees that's what people are doing? He's also describing what he does.
They're driving all their opinions from the lizard. The lizard yells it at them, and they're believing it, and that's where they have to be smart enough to say, "I can't listen to that lizard." Like I said, you have to feed the lizard to live. The lizard's going to give you your gratification. It's going to give you your
The
satisfaction.
lizards are coolly innocent in their cruelty.
Well, I'm just saying, you
stuff.
have to feed it. You
There's a
have
sort
to-
of
you
innocence
have
in their
to-
cruelty compared to the monkey that's cruel.
You have to feed it. I'm just saying you have to learn how.
What I was saying when I paused there was, how is Gary has this insight, but I just doesn't feel like you live that way, Gary.
For you. You have to learn how to give it just what it needs and not what it wants.
I kind of think in your metaphor that we need to get rid of the. I mean, I love animals enough to hate to use an animal as a metaphor for this, but we're not really talking about apes or monkeys. We're talking about this part of our own psyche. It's almost like that's the part we have to clear out. It's okay, the lizard
Well,
we can live with because you got to
like,
eat and you got to bask in the sun and the things the lizard
Yeah,
does.
you gotta
But you
feel.
don't have to fling shit and kill your competitors' children and things like this that you see already in the simians.
Well, I'm just saying, you don't let the lizard decide behavior. You're keeping it in a cage and you're feeding it. So you're controlling its comfort. So you have complete control.
So what I was trying to point out was that the lizard isn't really a problem. The lizard doesn't fling shit and kill other people's children preemptively so they can't grow up and become competitors. That's something just the ape does. The lizard just basks in the sun and likes a good meal, and yeah, it might eat something, where it dies slowly, kind of through ignorance. And that's actually not as bad as the monkey that flings shit.
Over having a nice, gratifying, and enjoyable life because you have it caged.
Well, I'm thinking about the actual
animals.
You have it
caged. You have it in a synthetic
And I've had
environment.
pet lizards, and you can
Well,
do that, and they're happy.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They don't wreak havoc, but try to do that with a monkey, they still wreak havoc.
I got a little turtle in that bowl over there, a little snapping turtle. Yeah, and so he lives a nice. I give him what he needs. He has his comforts, okay, and he's in a safe environment. And I'm just saying, we have to do the same thing for our agenda engine. We have to keep ourselves happy, but we don't let that native animal loose. And that's, to me, it's such a simple concept. It's so obvious. Like, why would you let it loose? Why would you let a dinosaur loose in the yard or something? You just wouldn't. You'd keep it on a leash. You'd keep it controlled. And so once you understand your agenda engine as a primitive mechanism, and that this part is the non-primitive, this is the good stuff, this is the Einstein shit up here, live on this stuff.
You just reminded me of that video I made of you where I printed out your face. It's still one of my favorite videos I ever made.
Yeah, the French video. It's speaking in French.
And because I love Baron von Munchausen, that movie, and it used that. Do you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
And I was talking about that because that's the other thing though is that is talking about the head, where you really are feeding all the urges, but you're pretending not to. You're just above that, but you're not really. But I agree that we do really. There's a way to bring that all together and then have your final actions be mental. And that's the thing I'm saying. It's like it doesn't guarantee any kind of success. But I mean, I know when I've got lost in life, I know how I got there. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, I decided I'd climb on that cliff, and the rocks were loose, and I went down in the canyon. At least I know where I fucking am.
If we had a pause button, that other people could press or that we could press, because it's just. All it takes is that little bit of pause where you say, what's deciding, what's making me do this? Is anger making me do this? Is, horny? What's the function that's taking place? And just recognize that, okay, maybe I should chain that up a little bit.
Well, this is what I was saying about my in real life aspect to this is that my issue has been trying to help other people, and the difficulty of that, and of carrying them through irrationality, or my wife that we did not have a good relationship, and I thought I was going to save her, and we did both grow, and I grew, but it was like in the end I was making decisions like that, but I was doing it through this filter of, okay, I'm going to accommodate this irrationality. And that's what I mean about my tolerance is being tested now, and it's also I'm 46 or whatever. And so it's an age of my life where I don't have time to fuck around and experiment. Even if I'm wrong, I'm going to go with what I figured out so far. And the thing is, even younger, when I was more confused, decisions I've made that were within my realm or had to be, I did this way, and I'm happy with how they turned out. The decisions I made where I'll just trust you, okay, we'll do it your way, and you'll learn from the result, and we can learn together the way I learned this already, but now we'll go through it with you, and then you go through it, and they don't learn it.
Yeah, well, I guess I guess my life lesson has just been one of futility, is that control is an illusion. The only thing you control is this brain shit.
Yeah.
But the real world, that's really. You're just, your good intentions are always going to be thwarted and turned upside down, and it's so delicate a balance, because you save somebody and they kill somebody else,
No, yeah, enablement.
You're just like so fucked because your influence is so frustrating.
Well, that's a more pop-sci way to put it, is that dealing with issues of enablement.
Well, it's just you can't just apply logic because the chess pieces are 5 plays ahead. You know what I'm saying? Everything's going to happen.
Well, it comes back to the cliches.
15.
If you had a cliche logic, and it doesn't have to be literally cliche people already know, but something like a cliche, people can follow that. But the top part of your head might not approve because it doesn't really fit together.
That's the first thing we should know, is that that's not going to work playing a complex game like chess. You can't play it based on a cliche. So that's not going to work. It is more complicated than that, and it is so complicated there's no point in even trying to manipulate this in any, you know what I'm saying? So we're back to the end, and I just argue, but I'm just saying that there is a part of life that you just, you know, you have to settle for playing it badly. You know, by no fault of your own, but you just have to settle. This is the possibility
it's a rational
that
approach,
I will
exactly.
totally fuck up, even though I tried to anticipate.
But
the
people
right
want the
moves.
secret. They want to think, no, I visualized it, so it's for sure going to go right. They want
Well,
that
I
piece
know,
of art.
but isn't that just totally
That's
destructive?
why it's not easy to
why
sell.
Well, you know that.
Thinking.
Well, you know that's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So the point is.
See, this is a basis of how Gary and I could converse about things. We're disagreeing on all the same things we normally disagree about in this.
We have to make the argument that, you know, that isn't the solution. The simple answer isn't the right answer. I mean, it'd be nice if it was, but it's not.
Yeah, but I was also getting in lately to some of the things, again, that were promises from the 70s, the few that turned out, like all the Peace Corps people going out and giving condoms to people in South America and stuff. That did work. It was pretty simple. People that went and dug wells, those people got clean water. You know what I mean? There's some simple sounding things, but the complexity we're really talking about is people's emotional driving factors.
Yeah, and what happens?
They don't want to use
and
these.
what happens?
There's engineering solutions.
What happens 10 moves down the road where they don't maintain what they got built and they stop using the condoms, and then everything you gave them, they now turn into.
Well, we might not know.
Well, see, and here's the thing of that's the effect of civility. Because here Gary was talking about that what if they stop using the condoms after a while? You know, it wears off once you've taught people about what condoms do and they start using them, that they would just suddenly stop. Like, they don't want to. But I think that's not how it is. You've created people with knowledge that teach their kids the same knowledge, and it doesn't just fade away like that when you have, here's how you get clean water. Here's how you don't get a venereal disease. Here's how you control the number of kids you have. Here's how you get educated. I think people just learn that that's how it works, and they don't really go back. And that's some weird kind of concept that they might.
No, but like if we're 10 steps down, we went on to the next thing, and then we let it decay now. I don't get it. I mean, when we were kids, this country, for all of whatever the crimes and misdemeanors of it, I don't know about the whole country, but in California, there were good schools and roads. I mean, people were actually pulling that shit off, and now it's just decaying. So it shows that 10 steps down the road, what are we, 5 steps? Yeah, so 5 more, and we're back to gangs of people in the libertarian paradise.
Well, yeah, or gangs of.
It has been proven possible to do better, though, and it's a lot of simple engineering solutions about how do I get across the river. I can build a fucking bridge that'll eventually fall down, you know, but my kids can fix it. And we just don't do that, and we're obsessed still with blowing people up in the 21st century, and we're discussing torture and shit. Moving to the East Coast has helped me, though, not be quite as an anti-American. I was getting kind of anti-American. Now I feel like this is enough of a change for now, but probably, I don't know. I mean, I think America is worse off than just the general world situation.
I just don't see where you go in the rest of the world where it gets any better. To me,
Bhutan.
They're imitating the same mistakes. Well, you're saying Bhutan. I'm just saying. I'm not too sure.
But even Bhutan, they had like their genocide and kicked these people out and stuff. And
I'm not sure they got their boots on straight either.
No, nobody really seems to. You can't really run away or go to the side. Or I saw all of the baby boomers doing their co-ops and their communes, and like hardly any of those did any well. And the ones that did were just bought out by the most ambitious one and turned into Whole Earth or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, though we are at kind of a crisis, which is another thing, could just be a cusp. We don't really know what will happen as a result of the collapse. I would like to help make it not too big of a collapse. Like you said, I mean, maybe we can at least get the gas out of drop the fuel so that the plane's lighter and doesn't burst into flames, you know, and then maybe make little commune around the pool.
The best hope I have is just reducing the casualties, so that's all I mean, my.
But are you giving up hope to everybody just never having more kids?
The hope, there's no hope. Well, I'm just saying, I'm giving up hope. No, I think people will not have kids if they, you know, once life gets miserable enough and they still have some education, then they would not have kids. But yeah, obviously they have to put something in. Obviously the people who don't want it to happen have to stop the people who will make it happen.
Yeah.
So again, we're back to this argument. Most people are already anti-natalist in their behavior, and they're just not willing to impose it on the 10% who are creating the problem. So it's 10% of the population that keep making the mess.
You would say only 10%. It's more people.
That's yeah. I wonder what I'll say to that.
People than that have kids.
No, that have enough kids to maintain human existence. It isn't.
Oh, I see. That's right. Okay, you got your mathematical thing. I
They're all
remember.
the surplus.
You're just trying to get to
Well,
a
I'm just saying the
1.9 level.
Well, I'm just saying those surplusers are really down there. You go down to
I don't think misery would do it though, Gary.
misery
people will
with
just
knowledge. With knowledge.
Don't forget the knowledge,
No,
right? That
well, I'm just
misery,
saying,
boom.
No. You just take somebody who has a little bit of taste, who's tasted the better life, and put them in the shithole. I'm just saying that
They'll focus on raising their kids, and their kids won't know anything.
Well, I'm just saying
Won't
I
be
don't think they
educated.
will. I think they'll be scary enough. Okay, so I'm just saying I don't think the knowledge will go to the same kind of reaction.
If I was right now, I'm saying is
ignorance makes babies.
if I wrote a sci-fi story where people became anti-natalist, it would actually be through success.
We're making a
and being
video.
educated enough to just decide to only have one kid and do the math, and hey, the humans will be gone in 10,000
I
years
just
or
think
whatever.
the logic is easy enough that
You should do that math actually. What if people had a birth rate of 1 in the world? How long would it take to be down to the last
225 years? So it's too many. It's too long.
You're not willing to wait 225 years because we might have the answer
Well,
by
I'm just
then.
saying. We're just saying we're not gonna. Yeah, we got to do something. I got to find a magic bullet. I got to find something. Goes right through people's little heads and bingo. Oh, I get it now.
Well, I would be
mean,
really
the
happy
idea
if
that-
to just to
So, one thing, Gary's house was like, I loved it because it has all these electronic lights. There's cameras and technical things all over. They're from eBay, so it's like a history of computing. There's video. There were multiple video sources playing various things in this multi-track way, which I think is awesome. So I really like the aesthetics of this whole environment, by the way. In Gary's shack in Inmendham.
make a tool where people could think better and decide whatever they wanted, because I'm kind of just my judgment against people really is limited to there's a lot of bad thinking where people aren't even getting their own selfish desires met by their bad thinking. It's not even good enough that their schemer is actually working for that urge.
I'm just saying that the people who know better are going to have to get more comfortable with taking. They're going to have to. The bus doesn't have a driver, and they're going to have to get. They're going to have to get with the program and say, okay, I know how to drive a bus. I'll drive. It's this idea that we're just letting the dumbest, stupidest people on earth drive the bus. I mean, it's so backwards. The retards are driving the bus.
Totally. And criminal retards.
Yeah, and that's got to change, or there's just we've got no hope at all for anything. But I'm just saying, even if you gracefully bounce and you gain flight again, there's nowhere to fly to. It still is a lizard. Okay, so you're just making
there's a meadow.
You're just making lizards happy. And
There's a meadow just 100
well, I'm
miles.
just saying, what's the point of making lizards happy, right? I mean, I wouldn't populate Mars with a bunch of happy lizards.
I would.
I know, but I wouldn't. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Lizards have but they do know how to enjoy themselves.
They rot and die like everything else.
They sunbathe.
There's no fucking point, Pyrrho.
They sunbathe.
There's no point. It's
Eat bugs.
It's a retarded agenda. Come on, let it go. There's nowhere to go. I'm just saying there's no singularity. There's no blah, 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 blah.
Well, I don't ever see into that conclusion because I don't think it works well enough to even make that conclusion. To me, it's such a mess that
feeding off of
you'll never get rid of life.
I know, but you're still doing the same thing. You're saying, I, the lizard, like chocolate.
You're never going to get the
me like chocolate. Me like chocolate. And so you're saying the universe should have chocolate in it because you like chocolate. And it's just so obviously lizard thinking.
I know.
Okay?
But
you're just saying, I'm going to shape Mars into a chocolate bunny. I mean, what? No, that's not smart. It's stupid. You're just letting...
But you're never going to convince the lizards not to reproduce, or the amoebas. You're never going to stop them.
The point is, I say I don't have to convince them. I have to convince the thing that has the lizard on a leash. So that's why I have to get people to put the lizard on a leash. So once they have the lizard on a leash, then they can stop it. I have to give them enough knowledge in their head to say I have to put the lizard on a leash, and then once they know they have to, then they have control.
I just feel like the main problem for me right now of people, in a non-judgmental way, is that I don't think people like the Socrates know yourself thing. I don't think people understand themselves. And I would rather they figure out what they really want first. Because it's hard to see what they really want.
But no,
like they want to be celebrities, but they do nothing to become a celebrity. They just worship celebrities. Exactly. Things like that don't make sense.
Well, it does make sense. They want it, but they don't want to work for it. That makes perfect sense.
So stop thinking about it. Do something else.
No, because it's fun to think about it. I mean, fantasies are fun.
But it's a painful fantasy. People are going through, and
well,
then
no, that's.
See, this is a thing I've been thinking about lately. Well, I've been thinking about it always, but I've been thinking about it again lately, is that this thing is probably it's a quirk of mine that I don't think I share with a lot of people, but that you guys should learn, which is that it actually is unhealthy and unwise to fantasize about things that wouldn't be good if they come true. Like, I found a lot of people say, you know, sure, there's a lot of people I'd like to kill. And you go, no, there's nobody I'd like to kill. Come on, the people you don't like, basically. And it's like, no, I don't want to kill those people. I don't exactly have, good feelings towards them. But I don't, because I'm realistic about this conception. And I think that a lot of people, if you fantasize about something that can't come true, that would be bad if it came true, that wouldn't actually be good, that is a destructive thing. If you want to, fantasize about winning the lottery and that's just unlikely to come true, then that, might be a waste of time in proportion to its likelihood, but, is also fundamentally harmless, right? Like, its good might be negligible. It makes you happy at that moment. It's like a cup of tea. Whereas to actually fantasize about things that would be bad if they came true, yeah, that's counterproductive, and people should, when they find themselves doing that, do as I have done and get over that, acquire the taste not to have that particular fantasy.
It's like saying the lottery's a painful fantasy.
It is. I hate the lottery.
Exactly. But why do you hate it? Okay.
Because
it's not cost effective.
Yeah, it's
right.
Exactly. And it's not fun.
Well, I know, but people do have fun.
Because like gambling
people
in a casino,
do have fun.
Well, they shouldn't.
Well, I know, but they do.
Well,
that's why they keep doing it. That's why they keep going week after week. They go back.
I feel the same way about slot machines.
Because
I go into a casino and
hope is fun. Shaping Mars into a chocolate bunny is fun, but it's stupid.
Maybe that's the thing then. I don't enjoy hope. I really don't enjoy hope at all. It makes me uneasy even. When people start hoping that things are going to go out, I go, this is just an excuse not to plan well. People need to plan better and hope less.
I said, I mean, obviously I don't like the word, but I mean, I'm pausing, okay? I'm doing my Einstein thing. I'm trying to be fair to the word, because I have to say that, well, obviously I live on some measure of it.
Yeah,
okay? I mean,
people have shown me that too,
some
of
point.
course.
I mean, I'm quite obviously living on some long shot that I'm going to be able to do something to navigate my life.
I'm moving to Maine. I've been there once when I was 12.
Well, exactly. So
I hope I can survive there.
So
I definitely do.
So
I'm planning to.
I'm just saying, I don't like the concept, but I have to admit that I live on some of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's another reason I'm not good at selling stuff, like selling this idea or selling this hobby or juicing it up, because to do that, there's something that's synonymous with hope. If hope isn't the perfect word, you have to inject this hopeful idea, and that just always feels like bullshit to me. I could say, here's a map. If you can walk 10 miles, I say follow this map, and if you don't get lost from the map, you'll get there. But that's different than, but I will make it, I will get lost, and giving them hope that they'll make it. I'm like, yeah, probably you should be careful, And so that doesn't make a good salesman.
Yeah, but I'm liking that map word, though. Even your software, just this whole idea of the map,
So he's talking about this software that I made a few years ago, and I probably have the source code. But I would make it different now because just I know more JavaScript now. And actually I am, but I'm going to make it more like a Google Maps based system with this open map software. Actually, I should be doing that right now. But I made a little map of an island that I found, a top-down kind of thing. And then everybody, all these people, this was when there were replies. That's what killed it, is when they took away replies. Because I could go ahead and create little, map markers for all, for Forever Wolf Films and for Inmendham and me and Anakanavad and Kazino McCool and everybody. And then it would scan YouTube and get everybody's reply structure, and it would show little links where people talk to each other, right? The connections. It was awesome. But then they took away the feature from, so the API call to say who replied, ends up having nothing in it. So it was useless. There was no way to really recover that. I did also make a Chrome plugin where you could make replies through the Chrome plugin, and then that could have been connected to the map, but they just made it so much harder that it wasn't really worth it. That's why that, died away.
Because that's what we're really after, isn't it? Isn't that what we're really after? Is a good map.
This is what I was talking about when I was saying maybe people are ready for some of the ideas I had 20 years ago that now they've used the computers that long. Because part of what I'm definitely going to do is just play with things I think are cool. And there are reasons, so maybe it'll be good in the end, but also if I'm enjoying doing it, I know I can come up with the energy. I don't have to hope that it'll be successful if I'm enjoying building it. And the map kind of thing is an example of where I'm saying, well, maybe I don't need to make tools for other people so much as make things like that until people like one of them. And it's easy to make things now, and I've got a lot of software, and there's a point at which, it's a bunch of tools, and you can build all kind of furniture. Maybe people don't want chairs, maybe, because I have come around to the thing of it'd be good to have something people did want to use and reproduce, or else it really is kind of futile. I mean, I don't think it's futile to watch after your own self in one sense, but in another sense it's ignorant because you can't. Where our shoes, who worked to make our fucking shoes, I can't pretend that it's okay just to, make a living and then die. I believe you have to try to work on this bigger problem, and in that sense, I'm just rewording that I have to have hope in that we can pull out the plane. And I'm kind of like, terminal optimism, where if we don't, we were going to wreck anyway. But if I'm not even trying to pull back on the yoke, then of course it's going to crash. And that is hope.
Well, yeah.
But I'm just not good at selling hope.
It's hope with a big pile of responsibility that's pushing you through the hope. Because that's how I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at it like, failure means that you're going to live in that future. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see it as it's not me directly, but it's going to be somebody. And
you always talk almost like you believe a reincarnation thing. I mean, your language is often that the future is putting you through something.
Like I said, I can't make it.
But that's empathy.
No.
That's you with the bigger spiritual picture of connecting with other people.
No, it's me recognizing that I can't distinguish between the rats. It's me recognizing that I'm ratting, and all these other rats are going to be ratting. And how can I make a distinction? So what's different about a future rat than a now rat?
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference. Oh, my name's different. Who cares?
But if everybody
I'm just saying, if I don't save that guy, it's still my fault. Whether it's me literally or me figuratively or not me at all.
But I just see
it just doesn't matter because I know the tree's gonna fall and it's gonna land on the fucker. And he's
But if more people saw that, then it would be solved.
Well, that's all I'm saying is that's my agenda, is to say this is the map of your existence.
If more people saw that, we wouldn't have to...
This is the map of your existence, okay? You are rat 4,678,000, okay? You are not fucking Mr. Magic. You are not, Cleopatra reincarnated. You're just a fucking rat, okay? Now, this is what happens in the maze. If the rats don't do this selfish thing and this selfish thing and this selfish thing, and they work together, they can reduce the casualties by this number. They can reduce the harm by this number. I mean, this is just economics.
Well, this is the thing. If people had any version of that perspective, then there are simple solutions of don't do this self-destructive thing. Let's just say self-destructive even instead, because I think getting rid of selfish things probably, but let's just say self-destruct. I'd like to see the world when the self-destructive parts were taken out and see if the selfishness didn't add up to there's a cupcake for everybody or not. And probably there wouldn't be, but I'd like to see the self-destructive answers. And they're there, but people have to see others. Some kid born in Africa and this or
it's amazing how little there is of us, accusing us of having sex with our cats and things. Odd. Anyway, I think I'm going to take a break. Bye.